Name the change of state. When the solid becomes liquid and liquid becomes gas, the process is called as evaporation or vaporization. When the gas becomes liquid, the process is called as condensation. When a liquid becomes solid, the process is called as condensation. When a solid becomes gas, it is called as sublimation. When a gas becomes solid, it is called as sublimation. When a solid becomes liquid, it is called as fusion, melting, or liquefaction. Define matter. Anything that occupies space and has mass is called matter. State different states of matter with example. Matter has three different states: solid, liquid, gas. What is diffusion? The intermingling of molecules of one substance with that of the other is called diffusion. What happens to the rate of diffusion if the temperature is increased? With increased temperature, the rate of diffusion also increases as the particles gain energy and vibrate more. Name the state of matter that have the tendency to maintain their shape when subjected to outside force. The state of matter that have the tendency to maintain the shape when subjected to outside force is solid. Define melting point. The minimum temperature at which a solid melts to become a liquid at the atmospheric pressure is called melting point. Define boiling point. The temperature at which a liquid starts boiling at the atmospheric pressure is called as boiling point. Define latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat of vaporization is the heat energy required to change 1 kg of liquid to gas at atmospheric pressure at its boiling point. Define latent heat of fusion. Latent heat of fusion is the amount of energy required to change 1 kg of solid into liquid at atmospheric pressure at its melting point. Define sublimation. Sublimation is the change of gaseous state directly to solid that without going through liquid state. What is dry ice? Solid carbon dioxide obtained by cooling and applying pressure on carbon dioxide gas. It does not melt, so it is called dry ice. What is humidity? The air holds water vapor. This air with water is called humid air, and the amount of water vapor present in air is called humidity. Give to properties of solids. Solids have fixed shape and are rigid. Solids cannot be compressed. What will happen if the pressure is reduced on solid carbon dioxide? If the pressure is reduced on solid carbon dioxide, it will directly change into gaseous state without melting. Name any three substances that show sublimation: ammonium chloride, camphor, and naphthalene balls. Sponge is solid, but we can still compress it. Why? Sponge is a solid with minute pores in it. When we press the sponge, the air present in the pores is released out, and hence we are able to compress. What is normal atmospheric pressure? The atmospheric pressure at sea level is 1 atmosphere and taken as the normal atmospheric pressure. What is Kelvin? Kelvin is the SI unit of temperature. Give two examples of diffusion: milk drops dissolved in water and perfume sprayed in a room. Give the temperature at which water exists in two different phases or states. At 0 degree Celsius, water can be in solid or in liquid state. At 100 degrees Celsius, water can be liquid or in gaseous state. Why do we see water droplets collected on the outer surface of glass container containing ice? The water vapor present in air comes in contact with the cold outer surface of the container, thereby condensing it to form water droplets. Explain why solids have fixed shape but liquids and gases do not have fixed shape. Solids have fixed shape due to strong intermolecular force of attraction between them. The liquids and gases have molecules with less intermolecular force of attraction and hence they can flow and take shape of the container. Liquids and gases can be compressed, but it is difficult to compress solids. Why? Liquids and gases have intermolecular space. On applying pressure externally on them, the molecules can come closer, thereby minimizing the space between them. But in case of solids, there is no intermolecular space to do so. A balloon, when kept in sun, bursts after some time. Why? The balloon has air filled in it. The balloon, when kept in sun, gets heated, and the air inside it also gets heated. The molecules of air get energy and vibrate faster, thereby exerting large force on the walls of the balloon. Due to this expansion of gases, the balloon burst. Why do people perspire a lot on a humid day? On a hot, humid day, due to the heat, our body starts sweating for the cooling mechanism, that is by evaporation, and gets cooling effect. But the air cannot hold any more water on a humid day, and therefore the sweat or perspiration is seen. Distinguish between evaporation and boiling. Evaporation is a surface phenomenon. It is slow process. It takes place at all temperatures. Boiling is a bulk phenomenon. It is fast process and it takes place in a definite temperature. Why is it advisable to use pressure cooker at higher altitudes? At higher altitudes, the atmospheric pressure is low and the water boils very fast and evaporates at faster rate. Therefore the pressure is required to increase the cooking process, and this is done by using pressure cooker, which increases the pressure inside the container and cooks food faster. What is fluids? The states of matter that can flow due to less intermolecular force of attraction. Liquid and gases are fluids and are called as fluids. 1 kilogram cotton and 1 kilogram sand, which is more denser, and why? 1 kilogram sand is more denser than 1 kilogram of cotton. The volume required by cotton is more than the sand, and density and the volumes are inversely proportional. Density is equal to mass upon volume. Why is water liquid at room temperature? The room temperature cannot provide sufficient heat to the molecules of water to overcome their force of attraction, and therefore it remains in liquid phase. State the differences between solid, liquid, and gas. Solid. Solids have strong intermolecular force, very less intermolecular space, have definite shape and volume, have high density. Solids cannot be compressed. Liquid. Liquids have weak intermolecular force, large intermolecular force, or large intermolecular space. They do not have definite shape but have definite volume. Density is low, liquids can be compressed. Gases have very weak intermolecular force, very large intermolecular space, no definite shape and volume, very low in density. Gases are highly compressible. Cotton is solid but it floats in water. Why? Cotton has large number of pores in which air is trapped, hence reducing its density and increasing the volume. Therefore, cotton floats in water, but when these pores get filled with water, it starts sinking. Why are solids generally denser than liquids and gases? Density of a substance is given by a formula: density is equal to mass upon volume. In case of solids, the molecules are highly tightly packed and hence large mass is concentrated in very small volume. Hence the density is more. But in case of liquids and gases, their molecules have intermolecular space and hence They don't have large mass concentrated in small volume. So the density of solids is generally more than that of the liquids and gases. On a hot sunny day, why do people sprinkle water on the roof or open ground? During hot sunny day, the surface of roof or ground absorbs large amount of heat and remains hot. On sprinkling water on these surfaces, the water absorbs large amount of heat from the surface due to its large latent heat of vaporization and evaporates, thereby allowing the hot surface to cool. The temperature at which liquids change into vapors is very high. For example, water vaporizes at 100 degrees Celsius. Then how is it possible for water to evaporate at room temperature or at any other temperature? The molecules of water present on the surface of the exposed area, which are in very small fraction, gains the energy from the surrounding. With this higher kinetic energy, they are able to break the force of attraction between them and hence get converted into vapor state. This phenomenon of change of a liquid into vapors that takes place at any temperature below its boiling point is called evaporation. On a hot sunny day, why do we feel pleasant sitting under a tree? Tree has lot of leaves which constantly show transpiration. Transpiration is loss of water through small tiny pores of leaves called stomata. When this water comes on the surface of leaf and water evaporates, thereby causing cooling effect. Therefore we feel pleasant sitting under the tree on a hot sunny day. Name the factors that affect evaporation. The rate of evaporation will increase with an increase of surface area, an increase of temperature, a decrease in humidity, an increase in wind speed. The melting point of ice is 273.16 Kelvin. What does this mean? Explain in detail. Ice is solid at 0 degree Celsius, that is 273 degree Kelvin. The molecules of ice are tightly packed. These molecules have to overcome the force of attraction with which they are held, and hence they gain this heat from surrounding, but the temperature remains the same as their energy is used to overcome the force of attraction between the particles. The particles of ice start vibrating freely, and a stage is reached when the solid ice melts and is converted to liquid state at the same temperature, that is 273 degree Kelvin. How is the high compressibility property of gas useful to us? The gases have high compressibility. This property is used in the following situations. LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, is a fuel which is made up of petroleum gas. On compressing this petroleum gas, it forms liquid. Oxygen cylinders in the hospitals have compressed gas filled in it. CNG, compressed natural gas, is a natural gas methane which is compressed and used as a fuel in vehicles and at home. With the help of an example, explain how diffusion of gases in water is essential. The gases from the atmosphere diffuse and dissolve in water. Gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide diffuse in water are essential for the survival of aquatic animals and plants. Animals breathe in this oxygen dissolved in water and for their survival, and plants can use carbon dioxide dissolved in water for photosynthesis. On adding impurity to a substance, what happens to its boiling point or melting point? Its boiling point and the melting point changes. It does not remain fixed. The boiling point is elevated and the melting point is decreased. How will you separate miscible and immiscible liquids? To separate the miscible liquids, we can use distillation or fractional distillation process. To separate two immiscible liquids, we can use separating funnel as the densities of the two liquids are different. Pure ethanol boils at 78.4 degrees Celsius and freezes at minus 114 degrees Celsius. You have a sample of ethanol which boils between 79.1 degrees Celsius and 79.9 degrees Celsius. What can you say about its purity? What will you expect to find when you measure its freezing point? The sample is not pure as it is not boiling at the fixed point, rather it boils at range of temperature. Its freezing point will also not remain fixed, rather over a range of temperature it will freeze, and the range will be lower than the freezing point. It is important that some substances are pure. Give two examples. The pure substances are important for our life as some impurities may affect its nature or our health. For example, if we eat food which is not pure, like suppose oil is adulterated with some impurity, it may cause heart problems. Similarly, medicines should be in purest form. Impurities in it may cause complications to health. Explain solute and solvent. Solute: any substance that dissolves in the solvent is called as solute. Solvent: any substance in which the solute can be dissolved is called as solvent. State the difference between condensation and sublimation. Condensation: the cooling of gaseous vapors when it comes in contact with low temperatures is called as condensation. Sublimation: the conversion of solid substance directly into vapors without attaining a liquid state is called as sublimation. Suppose you are given a solution of salt and water. Suggest how would you separate the mixture to obtain pure salt and pure water. To obtain pure salt, I shall evaporate the water by controlled heating or keeping it in sun. To obtain pure water, I shall use the process of simple distillation in which the water shall evaporate and pass through the condenser to liquefy.